And it is, drum roll, hey guys, how's it going? Welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel, which is all about makeup and beauty. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 foundations, and I'm going to talk through every foundation and tell you exactly why I love it. I'm going to start from number 5, and then I'm going to work my way up to that number 1 spot and tell you exactly why it is number 1 by showing you how I apply it so you guys can really see what it looks like on too. Now, although I may alternate between different foundations, I feel like I've been using these 5 foundations for quite a while now, so I really just wanted to share with you exactly why I love it. Now, if you do like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. You can also catch me on Instagram, where you can follow my stories for daily beauty news and some PR unboxing. Now let's jump straight into the video. So let's start with number 5, and that is the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Luminous Matte Foundation. My shade is Baklava. This shade is the best shade for me. I've tried a few of them. I kind of like alternated through a few different shades from Huda Beauty, but I always come back to this one because it's just the right one for me, especially when I'm tanned like this. Now, let me explain to you, because they used to have an old foundation which didn't have the word luminous in it, and now this one has the word luminous, and it is slightly kind of almost like semi-matte, so it has that nice kind of glow to it. I loved the previous one, although I did find it was a little bit too much for daytime. It was a little bit too thick and gloopy for me, and I felt like I could really feel it on the skin. But this one, I feel like is a bit more wearable now, and I love the finish. If I'm going out in the evening and I know that it's like an evening event, if I know that it is an evening event, I don't know why that didn't come out right, then I will always opt for this foundation because I know I'm going to get that flawless finish. It's going to basically make me look flawless, like I said. It's like got that really amazing, just clean finish, and plus I feel like it doesn't look overly matte. And I love the fact that this doesn't actually feel as heavy on the skin anymore. Plus you don't have that fragrancy kind of like smell to it. But my main thing is it feels comfortable on the skin, and it doesn't feel like I'm wearing loads of makeup when I wear it, yet it still gives me that flawless finish. Now, another thing is it is sweat proof. I live in Dubai. Trust me, sometimes you've got to be outside, and especially when you're my husband, when we go anywhere, like say if it's a mall or something, he doesn't want to park close to the front door. He wants to park ages away so that no one hits his car door. So then we've got to walk through the entire car park, and I'm just like dripping at that point. So trust me, I've tried it out, and this foundation does stay put. It still looks fresh. It doesn't start kind of like collecting up in parts of the face. It stays as it was when you put it on. So I love that foundation. It does give you the most amazing airbrush kind of like feel, look to your skin. Now, moving on to number 4, which is the Hourglass Vanish Seamless Liquid Foundation. Now, this foundation is, again, amazing as well. My shade is Golden Natural, which I can't use at the moment because I'm a little bit more tanned at the moment, and Golden Natural looks a little bit too light on me at the moment. And I feel like it's a bit harder to find my shade with these guys. Like, I feel like this shade is great when I'm not tanned, it's perfect. But if I'm tanned, then I can't seem to find the right shade because it's a little bit too orangey for me. So I personally love this foundation because I feel like it almost is a slightly lighter version of the Huda Beauty Faux Filter. Although it does give you a really amazing flawless finish as well, I do feel like it's harder to find your shade with this foundation, but it does give you the most amazing finish. Like, I do always have people saying, oh my God, what foundation are you wearing? So I do love the foundation, and it does stay put. It doesn't transfer, so it stays where it is. You don't get it, like, it's not on your clothes or anything, and it doesn't transfer onto anything, especially when you're wearing a mask. It actually does stay put. I do love it. I do feel like I can probably feel this foundation a little bit more on my skin than I can feel the Huda Beauty foundation, but I still love this foundation. I just love the finish that it gives you. And it's really easy to blend in. It's not too thick, so it's very easy to kind of apply with a brush as well as a sponge, so you don't have to just use a sponge with that. And I do feel like you don't actually need much concealer with that foundation either. So that's another foundation that I love. Now, number 3 is the Shiseido Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Foundation. And this foundation is oil-free and also SPF 30. So I love the fact that I've got some protection in there. And I do feel this is more of a daytime kind of foundation for me. it's not really an evening foundation because I feel like once I've had, it does, I know like Synchro Skin self-refreshing foundation, if you have read about it and heard about it, it does kind of keeps, like it stays looking fresh on your skin. So it doesn't look like it's been worn all day. And it does do that, it's great, but I do feel like I need concealer with this. So it's more of a daytime foundation for me. So that's the only reason it's kind of sitting at number 3, because it's something that I wear more often, you know? And I love the color. Did I tell you my color? My color is 330, which is oak. And I love the shade range. I have roughly around, I think it's around 50 shades. The foundation in general is really, it's fluid, it's liquid, it's easy to blend in. I do feel like sometimes I need a couple of pumps of it. Honestly, it ticks every box for me. It's a great foundation for the daytime for me. And if I could actually put a couple of these foundations on the same spot, same number, I would, by the way. I'm only having to put it in order because you got, you know, 5 to 1, but a couple of these foundations, honestly, I would put the one I'm about to tell you and the Shiseido on the same spot because they're great. Number 2, my foundation is the EX1 Invisiwear Liquid Foundation. This is an amazing foundation. My shade is number 8, and honestly, it is cheap as well, by the way, guys. It's not too expensive. It's a really great foundation. They have a great shade range, and it's perfect if you have olive undertone like me. So if you do have olive undertone, you're gonna love this shade range because it actually genuinely matches really, really well. So they've got a great shade range. It's affordable. It gives you great coverage. You do have to use a couple of pumps. I do feel like you need a concealer with it, but again, it's at number 2 because I use it on a regular basis, so I use it like more often. I would say that this foundation, EX1, is something which is a very easy foundation. Like, I feel like if I want a really natural, barely there makeup look, I can apply this foundation without any concealer, and that gives me that barely there look. So it kind of like melts into the skin. So it doesn't sit on top, it really does melt into the skin. And if I want a more of a slightly more medium coverage look, then I'll add my concealer and then go in with my foundation. And that's great, and it works really well for that. So it doesn't make you look like you're wearing a lot of foundation, which is why I love that foundation. Now, before we head over to my number 1 foundation, I just want to recap with you because honestly, I just want to tell you where I would actually put a lot of these foundations together. So Huda Beauty, Faux Filter and Vanish, I'd put them together. They're great foundations, so I've just had to put them in order, but honestly, those two are really great foundations for evening. If you want that flawless look that doesn't budge and it stays put and you look amazing. The Shiseido and the EX1, I'd also put them together because they're great day-to-day, everyday foundations. And again, they are in front of the previous 2 foundations because I use them more on a regular basis because I don't necessarily use a full coverage foundation as in for evening more than I do for a daytime. Like I'm always putting daytime foundation on, if you see what I mean. So yeah, so that is that, and now let's head over to number 1. So we're finally at my number 1 foundation. Now, as you can see, I've got no foundation on. I've just added a little bit of concealer, which I need to blend in now, but I didn't blend that in before because I really wanted you guys to see that I don't actually have anything else on. It's only concealer, because when you start kind of blending the concealer in, it spreads a little bit. So I'm just gonna spread that in, and then I'm gonna talk about my favorite foundation, and it has been my favorite for quite a while, but let me just get on and blend this in so we can get on with the foundation application, because I really wanted to show you guys how I apply my foundation as well, like my favorite foundation, the one that is at number 1 out of the top 5 for me. So yeah, so I'm going to show you how I apply it as well, because I wanted you to see what my skin looks like before and then what it looks like after we put this foundation on. So I've blended the concealer on my under eye area, and I haven't applied any contouring anywhere or any other concealer. The reason being is because I really wanted you guys to kind of see what this foundation does and how good it really is. I feel like you don't actually need a lot of concealer with it, although I always need concealer on my under eyes no matter what. So I wanted you guys to really see the difference it can make. Now, this foundation I feel like is kind of underrated. Well, here in Dubai anyway, I don't really hear a lot of people talking about it. Maybe it's really popular in the US, but see, guys, you should let me know. Let me know if you've heard about this foundation, because I don't hear enough about it. And it is, drum roll, the Tarte Face Tape foundation. This is honestly one of my favorite foundations ever. It is so good. It ticks all the boxes, and I'm going to apply it as I'm talking to you because I really want you guys to see. This shade that I'm currently using is 47S, and it's a slightly darker shade than my usual shade because I'm very tanned at the moment. Probably don't look it on my face, but as you can see, everywhere else I'm pretty tanned. So the reason I love this foundation, I've got it on the back of my hand by the way, so I'm just gonna start buffing this in as I'm talking to you, is it gives a really nice smooth finish to the skin, and the coverage is impeccable. I love the coverage. So what I'm doing is I literally just buff my sponge into the foundation on the back of my hand, and then I just start buffing it in. And I'm literally just kind of bouncing it onto the skin. Now, as you'll see, this gives a really nice natural finish. Well, I mean, I know that there are a lot of other looks which are way more natural than mine, but you know, I really like that it doesn't look cakey and that it does give, you know, a really nice finish to your face in general. I do love that it works really well with the Shape Tape concealer because that's my favorite concealer and that's what I used on my under eye area. I always go on the under eyes when I'm working my way down, and then I go everywhere else. So I'm just gonna buff this in here. And it also minimizes the look of pores. So like my pores don't look as kind of exaggerated. And it also does help to blur the skin a little bit. Obviously the coverage in itself will kind of like give you that blur, but it does kind of like give you a really nice flawless finish to the skin. Okay, so you can see there's nothing down here, and I'm gonna start like putting this onto my skin, which doesn't have any concealer on it. Okay. I don't know if you can hear that, but that is Nico, obviously. He can obviously hear something outside. And he's growling. Nico! Sometimes he thinks he's like Alsatian or something, or like a real huge guard dog. He's just like laying there. Like, he looks super chilled out, and he's just like growling and barking, but not actually up, if you get what I mean. He's just doing it while he's chilling out, so it doesn't even make sense. Okay, so we've got the foundation on everywhere other than my cheek area. I'm gonna apply that now. So yeah, you can see what my skin was like before, and I haven't even put concealer on anywhere else other than my under eye, and the coverage is just so good. So like, imagine, not everyone has like dark under eye circles like me. So like, if you have pretty clear under eyes, then you may not have to put concealer on the way that I do, which is great because this foundation will basically do it all for you. I love how it kind of doesn't dry out your skin. It does still feel nourishing to my skin, and it doesn't feel like it tightens up or feels like, you know, like it's just like all the water's been sucked out of my skin. So it's really good in that sense. It gives a really nice smooth finish. Like I said, my pores look minimized. They don't look as big. Best of all, it's sweat proof, waterproof, great in the heat. And I can vouch for that because I live in Dubai. So it really is just a really good all-round foundation. Like, I love the colors, because it's really difficult to find the right kind of brown when you have brown skin, because some are too grey, some are a little bit too kind of peachy or grey. It's just not the right colour sometimes. So this colour works perfectly for me, and when I'm slightly not as tanned, basically, then I sometimes mix the last foundation I spoke about with some of this foundation. So I kind of get the best of both, but ultimately this is my #1 foundation. This is the foundation that does it all for me. So like you can see, I've kind of like covered everything up, and I just want to kind of finish it off with powder so that you guys can actually see what this looks like. So I've set my foundation now. All I've done is honestly just dusted a bit of powder on top, and I've made sure that I bake my under eyes as I do all the time. So I wanted to just show you guys what it looks like with powder on top too. Now bear in mind, I don't have anything else on other than my eyebrows are done. I don't have mascara or anything. I've got some lip gloss and I think a tiny bit of lip line, that's it. No bronzer or anything, because I really wanted you guys to see what this looks like. Now obviously when you've got a full face of makeup, like eyes, brows, etc., everything done, then you do get a kind of better finish and your foundation doesn't look so like obvious in your face. But I really wanted you guys to see, because you saw what my skin was like before I started to put foundation on, when I only had a little bit of concealer on my under eyes. Now, I just want to go through, just recap with you what my favorite things are about this foundation and why I do honestly love it so much. Number one is I love the texture of it, because it's not too runny, it's not too fluid, but it's also not too thick and gloopy, and you know, it kind of spreads out really nicely. It's really easy to apply with a sponge. That's number one. Number two is the color. I love the color. I feel like it is perfect for my skin tone, especially when I'm tanned like this. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are gonna find your perfect shade, because I feel like it's impossible to have one brand that has the right shade for every single skin tone. But for me, it really does work. And considering I have brown skin, all the undertones in this like particular shade are great for my skin tone when I am tanned. Now, if I'm not tanned, then I like mixing it in with one of my other favorite foundations, or only because I can't find the exact shade when I'm not tanned, if that makes sense. But I wanted to be completely transparent with you guys. Now, another thing is it really does genuinely help to minimize the appearance of my pores. I know a lot of brands kind of say that oh, this reduces your pores. It doesn't reduce the size of your pores. Nothing can actually do that. Well, no foundation can actually do that, but it does kind of make them look less visible. So it kind of like blurs your skin a little bit. Now, as well as the obvious things like coverage and giving me a really nice smooth kind of finish to my skin, I really do love the fact that it just stays looking fresh for the entire day. I don't ever have a problem with this foundation where, you know, like several hours later, I'm like, oh my God, my skin looks like really greasy, or it looks like, you know, where you've just had your foundation on way too long and you just want to wash it off. It never looks like that. It always looks fresh, and I always still have people way later on in the day saying, oh, your base looks really good. All in all, it's a great foundation. I do really love it, and I do feel that it does everything it says it does. Like, I don't ever have any problems with this foundation. Even the packaging, like, it's just easy to use and it lasts me for quite a while. I only use half a pump, to be fair with you. So yeah, that is my ultimate favorite foundation. So there you go. Those are my top 5 foundations. I really do hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions, please do let me know in the comments below. Now, as always, if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care, and I'll see you soon.